Hey Whiskey Advocate fans, we're here today joined by two true industry legends, Fred Noe of Jim Beam and Jimmy Russell of Wild Turkey. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Now, how long have you guys known each other? You go way back?
Well,
he's older than me, so.
he was a baby.
All right, so
Wow.
60 years.
So basically your whole life.
Pretty much all my life.
I'm in my 64th year of making bourbon right now. So you know.
Him and my dad, they were like two peas in a pod, so.
That's great.
What you tell about us?
He was my dad on the road. I mean, might as well go and tell the story. When Dad retired, I was out down in Houston, Texas, and it was a big event, a barbecue event, and Jimmy's Wild Turkey tent was right across the aisle from the Jim Beam tent. And I was outside talking to some people, and I saw him over there, and he looked like he was writing on his hand. So I finished my conversation. I walked over, and we shook. And, so what's going on? He said, I'm taking notes. I said, what for? He said, I'm going to go home and tell Booker what you're up to out here on the road. I said, whoa, time out. I don't need a dad on the road and a dad at home, too. So that's kind of been our joke. He's my dad on the road. And since Dad's passed away, he's been a great father figure for me to look up to. He's a great man right here, Jimmy.
For sure.
Don't get no better than him.
You know, that's what I think about it. He's my son, too.
That's great.
I've been from the time, and little Freddie there, he's still Freddie to me.
He's still little to you, right?
I was always Freddie until my son was born. I became Fred.
He was always Freddie to me.
They changed my name. Booker gave my name to my son. And so Freddie became Freddie and I became Fred. It's a wonder I didn't get a worse name than that. That's a wonder. But
Booker and I was real close. We worked together for many, many years. This is the thing I enjoy about the bourbon business in Kentucky. We're all close friends.
Well, that's interesting, to say we work together about somebody who's really, in a different business, sort of a rival. But you were in different companies and you say you work together. That's
yes. If one gets in trouble, the other will do anything they can to help them out. This is what I enjoy so much about it.
It's like a fraternity, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go tonight, downstairs, you'll see all of us. We'll be together at some point. Hugging, drinking, laughing, telling the story. Where you been? Where I been? And it's these events like WhiskyFest are like a family reunion for the bourbon guys, because we're traveling in so many different directions now. And in a common event like this, we get pulled together and we get to share stories. It's funny when I go out on the road. I can tell when Jimmy or his son Eddie's been on the road, because you see the bottles signed on the shelf. You can tell when they've been ahead of me or behind me. If they've been there before me, there'd be a lot of Jimmy Russell bottles.
I mean, he should just write, Jimmy was here on the bottles from
there.
now.
On all the bottles of Wild Turkey, and I'm sure he sees the same thing on the Beam bottles.
Yeah.
My friend's been here, I see all these bottles he signed. What's bad is when you go back a few years later and the bottle's still there, then you know there's some trouble. When your bottle you signed a couple years before is still on the shelf, that's not good.
I can't believe the schedule you guys keep. I mean, you both keep a pretty busy schedule. Jimmy, in fact, I know tonight is 20 years at WhiskyFest New York, and you have not missed a single WhiskyFest.
I've been to every WhiskyFest that they've had.
And you're the only one in the world. So thank you for all that support. That's phenomenal.
I enjoyed it. It started here in New York 20 years ago, and then they moved to Chicago, and then they moved out to San Francisco. Now they've got a second year this year was in Washington, D.C. And, we get to see a lot of friends from overseas, from the Scots people and all the Irish people that you don't get to see but once a year. So that's what I enjoy about the WhiskyFest. And then see a lot of friends that come. I don't know where these people works. Sometimes you see the same people at all four WhiskyFests, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
They'll be at all of them.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we always know where to find you. You've been to every one in every city, which
Yes.
is quite an accomplishment.
Yes.
So let's drink some whiskey.
This is our rare breed. The first two barrel proofs on the market, Booker's, his dad come out with barrel proof, Booker's, late 80s. Mm-hmm. We come out with about the same time, just a little after. When you say barrel proof, it means no water can be added to it. Whatever comes out of the barrel, you have to show it on the labels. And this is a combination of 6, 8, and 12-year-old bourbons mingled together, non-chill filtered. This batch happened to be 116.8. We still a little lower proof and put it in a barrel a little lower proof. Got a good nose on it. That's the important thing to me, the aroma. The nose is the first thing I look for.
Do you guys regularly drink each other's whiskeys just to keep in touch and enjoy? Yeah.
No, I show up. His son, Eddie, he shares a lot with me, and I share a lot with him. We kind of grew up together.
We grew up together.
So at one point we had an idea. Booker and Jimmy kind of nixed it. We thought when we go on the road, we get us a bus and they'd let us travel together. And they said, no. You two don't need to be together. We could have been in all kinds of trouble.
It's a recipe for trouble, yeah.
We would never kept them out of trouble.
They better had a pretty good bail bondsman somewhere because we're just like our dads, though. It wasn't like it was and I'm sure back in their younger days, they were pretty hard to hold.
No, we weren't.
Nah, I don't believe that. Nobody tell any stories on you two. I'll tell them on me for
They're
sure.
all dead. We've outlived all of them. Yeah, I'm the last one of the original.
The original generation, yeah.
I think there's really, if you look at the bourbon industry, there's 4, I call them elder statesmen of this business. And it was the one right here, Jimmy, Elmer T. Lee at Blanton's, Parker Beam, and Dad. I mean, those guys, they created these super premium whiskeys and bourbons and went down the road and rekindled the fire under the bourbon category. I think we're all living off of the success today that they started back in those late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
You know, going out and doing tastings for, I mean, tonight, I don't know how many tickets you guys have coming, but I bet 20 years ago it wasn't near as many then. And there's a big reason for that, because they get out there and meet people, tell the stories, explain what it's all about, and people learned about bourbon.
This is the thing I see so much of now. When I first started out on the road 30 years ago, it was all whiskey. Didn't make any difference what it was. Nowadays, you know, bourbon's the most restricted product in the world. And nowadays, people knows everything about it, and I'm not good on these computers and internet. I can read emails, but I don't answer them. But you know, everything now, the least little thing changes, boy, it's all over the world. Right now, you got the bourbon societies of the world, the whiskey women of the world, everywhere you go in the world now, and everybody knows what you're doing at all the time, the least little change.
It's really changed. I mean, it's great times for bourbon too. I don't think we took a poll 20 years ago, but my guess is it was mostly Scotch drinkers at that time. And now when we poll our readers, they're drinking bourbon and Scotch almost at the same frequency.
Right.
You know, we ask them how many drinks they have a week. So that's a big leap forward.
Oh yeah, it's women getting into bourbon now.
That's a big thing. The ladies now they're really into bourbon now. All over the world, anywhere you go in the world now, the ladies well, at my age, bourbon was strictly a Southern gentleman's drink. They got off work in the afternoon, got their cards and their cigars, went to the back room, played cards, and drank their bourbon. Now it's become a worldwide drink. Anywhere you go in the world now, it's bourbon.
And how were they drinking it then, Jimmy? Was it neat or with water?
On the rocks.
Yeah.
Neat or on the rocks.
Neat or rocks, yeah.
There's something's really coming back now. Back in the 50s and 60s, old fashions, Manhattans was huge. Then they dropped off for a long time. Now they're making a big comeback now. But that was big drinks back in the 50s and 60s, long ago.
Now, something I just learned, we got to give Fred equal time here on his bourbon. Something I just learned, both these bourbons are non-chill filtered. Correct. Is that right? Mm-hmm. But can you guys explain a little bit to our readers why you choose to do that and what the difference is in?
Well, I guess one word that I'll say is just flavor.
Flavor. If you don't chill filter, especially lower proofs, you don't have to worry about this high proof yet. If you're adding a lot of water to it, if it gets cold, it clouds on you. It gets a real cloudy, milky looking. In the cold weather, it's the fatty acids and all in it.
Yeah.
And you're really taking out a few of those when you're chill filtering. You eliminate those so that they won't come out. If it stays hot, you're all right. But if say it gets hot and then real cold in a bottle, I don't know whether you've ever seen that or not, but it gets a real milky looking color. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
But it just don't
doesn't look good on the shelf.
So the trade-off is I can either have clear bourbon or more flavor. I'm going to take more flavor every time.
Well, and that's a lot of keeping it at the higher strengths. Like Jimmy said, you don't have to worry about the flocking and getting cloudy. But I mean, even the ones that do flock, the taste is still there. It just doesn't look as pretty. Because I'm sure everybody's seen bottles that people put in a deep freeze. They get real cold and they get a little haze in them. You taste it, it still tastes good. I don't know why people want to do that, but some people do like to put it in the freezer
Well, if you put water in it, you put the water in a glass, sits there a few minutes, it'll get a little.
It starts to haze up. And do you guys put non-chill filtered on the label so that the bourbon enthusiasts know that? No,
they know what.
They figure it out, right?
Everybody knows what you're doing nowadays.
Yeah, there's no TTB. I mean, the TTB website, when you do label approvals, they know what's in the package. I mean, that's the thing. The consumers know.
Oh, they know
what we're doing. The world is a small place. With the internet, you can get any information you want. So you better be pretty straight up at what you're doing, because people call you out on it.
Do you find that to be a good way to get information out?
I think it's great.
It's great.
As long as you're a straight shooter, there's no problem.
No problem.
Tell the story, let the chips fall where they may. Now, if you had a story that was a little shady, I'd be a little worried. You know, that's why if you're transparent with what you're doing and tell people what's in the bottle, it's not a problem.
Do it right or don't do it at all.
It's a great point.
Advice, Timmy.
Yeah, we've seen those brands called out, and I think consumers would feel exactly the way you said. I mean, if you're going to source whiskey and tell me and be honest about it, and it tastes good, I'm okay with it. It's when you go to try to pull the wool over someone's eyes and make up a story that you get into trouble.
Yes.
If people start coming trying to find your distillery in Kentucky, with people coming to the Bourbon Trail, you get asked. I mean, they ask our tour guides, "Where's this distillery?"
We don't allow tours.
He's telling one now.
That's what they say. We don't allow tours at our distillery, right?
Well, they don't allow tours at the ones that don't have one.
That's what I'm talking about.
I thought you were talking about it.
No, I'm not talking
about Wild Turkey. I think.
No.
He's trying to pull
They don't allow tourists because it doesn't exist. You mean?
We don't have tours.
Where would you tour? I mean, go out into a parking lot somewhere? But no, I mean, it's just the way it is. But people are inquisitive. I mean, we'll see 150,000 plus visitors a year. They walk in to do a tour and walk around our facility to learn about bourbon, to walk where Jim Beam walked and where Booker walked. And I'm sure Jimmy sees the same thing up at Wild Turkey. And I mean, it doesn't matter if it's pouring down rain, snowing, or a beautiful sunny day. People are coming to see bourbon. They want to know what it's all about.
Well, we opened our visitor center. We have always had visitors. Somebody, the manager, somebody just took them around up until 1988. We built took an old home on the property and made our visitor center. And we thought we'd keep it open till, maybe November and shut down to spring again. We have visitors every day of the year. About the only time we close our visitor center is on Christmas Day, and Thanksgiving Day, and New Year's Day, because you've got visitors. And the amazing thing about it, most of them from overseas. Overseas. It's going to be over 1 million visitors go through the Kentucky Bourbon Trail this year.
That's awesome. That's got to be great for the economy as well.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, in a little town, Lawrenceburg, where I live, where Wild Turkey is, the whole motel there says it wasn't for the Bourbon Trail, he wouldn't have any business at all, because with Buffalo Trace and us and Four Roses and Woodford's all right there within 12 miles of them. Then they go to Bardstown.
Oh, yeah.
The rest of them down there, Bardstown has got a huge tourist visit.
So we're in, small town too, just like Lawrenceburg. I mean, draws folks in there and they're staying at, it's created a bed and breakfast deal that I'm sure if it wasn't for the Bourbon Trail, I don't know nobody coming to Bardstown.
And the restaurants are doing, they got to eat too and everything, so it's been good for Kentucky.
It's like the Napa Valley of the East Coast.
You say that, but I went to meetings, our former governor, Governor Beshear, when he initiated this thing, they sent me, I don't know why they sent me to the meetings, Jimmy probably got to go too, go to this meeting. And it was a person from the Visitors Bureau at Napa Valley was trying to show Kentucky if they would use the distilleries as a hook, like they use the wineries in California as a hook, you can create a tourist industry right there in Kentucky. And we all took the bait. I mean, Governor Beshear, build it, they will come. And, I know our corporate folks were a little leery. It's a big chunk of money to spend on a visitor center. And once they built it and the people started coming, they said, well, they're coming. So he was a straight shooter and did a great job promoting, especially in a state that at that time was greater than 70% dry.
It still is. We make all the bourbon for the world. It's better than they say 95%, probably more than that. But a lot of Kentucky's still in prohibition.
Yeah, no, you can't get a legal drink.
Unbelievable.
You can't get a legal drink. You can get a drink, but it's not a legal drink. I know you know what I'm talking about. So don't look at me
I
like
don't know
that.
them places. You don't know them.
There you are. You want to try to tell one now, Jimmy?
Should we have a?
Yes, we need to taste.
Yeah, I think we should do equal time. Try this distiller's cut because I've never had it. Jim, I think many years ago when I was down to visit you, you were joking with me that marijuana is the biggest cash crop in Kentucky.
Yes.
I see there's some big spirits industry players moving into that area now. You gonna start a field down there? You see you guys
You got a farm,
moving into?
I don't know.
You
We don't know. We haven't-
Constellation just announced that they're
Yeah, there's
looking at, that they're investing in marijuana.
Actually, you know, hemp was a big money crop in Kentucky back in the 1900s.
Right.
And marijuana is nothing but a glorified hemp. Was it last year they passed a special law in Kentucky you started growing hemp again? But most of them had to burn it up. THC,
Yeah.
it couldn't be over three. What was it, 3 points?
Very little, yeah.
Very little, and then most of the crops was over that.
Yeah, Dad
So they couldn't
actually
use
worked
it.
on a hemp farm when he was in high school.
They really?
He actually did up in Washington County.
Yeah.
Dad was a big farm hand when he was growing up. He was big and strong, and a little research where we did a book. They said we want that Booker boy. He's pretty strong and he can outwork 3 or 4 men. And as long as you feed him, I think was the deal. You fed him lunch, he was a pretty good hand. But he talked about working on the hemp farms, you know, and shaking out the seed and doing what they do to harvest it. He said that was back when I was a kid. You know, that was for the war effort, you know, to make the rope and stuff. So
Clothing.
Well, this is a new product. What can you tell me about distiller's cut?
it's our Jim Beam mash bill. We raised it between 5 and 6 years, and it's bottle 100 proof, non-chill filtered, and it's going to be line price about $23 a bottle for the holidays.
That's super.
Coming out this year,
What kind of price?
$23. Too cheap.
You give it away.
Well, I don't get to set the price, Jimmy. Just make it and put it in the bottle.
Who, Freddie does that?
Yeah, Freddie takes care of the price. He's going to kill us.
Do you think there is a shortage of bourbon at that accessible price level these days? I think, you know, we've started to accept that.
You know, I mean, we're line pricing it with our Core Plus brand.
Mm-hmm.
We're right in that, you know, that sweet spot. A little bit more than Jim Beam White, but yet a step below our premium products.
Yeah, it's the thing is depends on age and everything.
It is going to be an annual release, so you know we might do some different things with it every year to give folks
lovely.
different flavors. You know, it was we were in Chicago earlier in the week and we did a little event. Freddie did with his little book, and I was asked by Brett at Benny's if I would talk about Distiller's Cut, and he had a sales flyer. He was holding it up. I said, I'm not going to be Vanna White and hold up that piece of paper. So he held up the paper and I talked about it, and it was funny, the gentlemen that were there in the room, it was mostly guys, I don't know if there was any women at all, but when I said unchill filtered, they lit up like a Christmas tree. I mean, you don't think folks that drink bourbon don't know the story.
Oh, yeah.
You get out there and just mention keywords like non-chill filtered, barrel strength, barrel, straight from the barrel bourbon, and watch their eyes light up. They'll walk right by. If you say it's non-chill filtered, they want to taste it because it's flavor, and that's what it's all about.
Yep.
And then the single barrel program now is growing huge. We're hand selecting just bottle 1 barrel at a time. It's really growing. And we have a program at the Wild Turkey Distillery where bars and restaurants and stores can come in and select their own barrel. We bottle it for them. They get every bottle out of that barrel and take it back to their store.
Well, those are the key words I think that bourbon lovers have come to equate with flavor. I mean, I hear non-chilled filtered, more flavor. Barrel proof, more flavor. I mean, it's just those are the check marks they want.
Well, you know, this is something I'm seeing. When I started, most everything was bottled around 100 proof. You didn't have 90s and 80s or 86s. And then we went down and improved quite a bit. And now I'm seeing a big turn. I think you're seeing it too. Everybody's going back to the higher proofs. They don't want the lower proofs anymore. Everybody's wanting their higher.
Well, you and Dad had a lot to do with that. I mean, when Booker starts releasing Bookers back in 1987 at barrel strength, people thought he was crazy. And I know Jimmy with the rare breed, they said, "Oh, that's too much." You know, people try to, you know, nobody's going to say that, but Dad's theory, and I know Jimmy's the same way. you can take it to the strength that you want to drink it with a little bit of water or ice. Just because it's bottled at 125 proof, say Booker's, you don't have to drink it at that strength. Add a little water and open it up, put it on the rocks. I mean, I think people are discovering you can customize it to your taste, and that's what they want to do. They want to drink it the way they like it.
Do you think people also understand that there's more whiskey in the bottle? I mean, it's going to cost more because there's less water, there's more whiskey in there. Are people willing to pay up for the barrel proof?
They're paying for the taste and flavor.
Yeah.
That's what they're paying for.
Dad used to jokingly say that Booker's was like a bottle and a half.
Yeah.
Because it was,
It is.
you know, it's like 80 proof, and you go from 120, you know, you're getting another half a bottle. I don't know if people look at it like that.
You know, I've always thought you go to the grocery store and buy meat and things, it's a price per ounce or something like that. I've always wanted the price of bourbon, or show the price of bourbon, what it would cost you, say at 120 something proof of Booker's. If you cut it down to 80, 90 proof, how much would it cost you per ounce? That way, you see, you'd be getting a lot more for your money.
You do.
You're exactly right.
Well, these are both great whiskeys. I'm
Yes.
happy to try them, and especially with you guys. So thanks for joining us tonight at Whiskey Fest.
Thank you.
Glad to
Looking
be
forward
here.
to a great evening.
Thank you.
We'll be hanging out tonight, I'm
All right.
sure. It'll be funny to watch
be
people
there.
because they get to look and they say, well, you're Jim Beam, you're Wild Turkey. Y'all act like your buddy. I say, well, we are. That's my second dad. What do you mean? I mean, we enjoy hanging out. I mean, now that I've already seen him, he can't sneak up on me and grab me around the neck. I see he's got a cane, so I'll be waiting for everything to wrap me on the back of the head when I'm not acting right. But I'm proud to have him as a second dad. I mean, don't get no better than Jimmy. He's a great guy.
It's good someone's around to keep an eye on you.
Right. Booker's living through Jimmy, it's for sure. They're cut from the same cloth.
I'm fortunate my son will be here tonight. His son will be here tonight.
That's great.
And my granddaughter will be here.
Oh, really? So you're going to have 4 generations here. How long have each of you been in the industry now?
I've been here 30 years.
Yeah.
Well, 30 plus years.
And Jimmy,
I'm in
you're
the 64th year.
Yeah, 64 years. And what do you know now that you didn't know when you started out?
Well, when I was, like I said, when I started out, you know, basically it was a Southern gentleman's drink. Now it's become a worldwide drink. Anywhere you go in the world, bourbon is well known. And the biggest thing is the ladies now, you know, at my age, you went to a bar, you never saw a lady in the bar. Who does all the purchases of the bourbon now? The ladies. Well, they're at the liquor stores and all now. And that's the biggest change I've seen. And, you know, and then going back to, you're getting some flavored bourbons on the market now. And, I can't say much about that because we were the first ones to come out with
Yeah,
it.
sure, with Wild Turkey Honey.
Come out in 1976 with it. It's 101 bourbon with honey and sweetener flavors added to it. It's still going big for us. So, and I say Booker and I come out with a rare breed, barrel proof bourbons, and then Blanton's.
Yeah. Elmer did a single barrel.
Blanton's single barrel and the Our Kentucky Spirit was the first 2 single barrels on the market. I'm the only one left. You and Eddie, the old bunch now.
That's a scary thought. Me and Eddie being the old ones in the deal. But
You are.
well, I guess it might be. But
Y'all been in that old.
we're doing the best we can do. You know, we had great teachers, good genes to pull from.
Yeah,
But now myself learning, you know, to be honest, just getting to hang out with my dad and Jimmy and Elmer and Parker and watching them, and then seeing how the industry has changed in my 30 years. I mean, I never dreamed. I mean, Dad always said, if we get that bourbon in people's mouths and educate them, it's going to take off. You know, but I don't think he even dreamed that it would take off to the extent it has.
It has.
Because if we had that clue, we'd been making a hell of a lot more
That's
a
right.
few years ago. We would have been making a lot more rye whiskey
Yeah.
a few years ago. I mean, Jimmy made rye and Booker made rye.
Yeah, it was on the market. You guys never gave up on it.
Yeah, we
It was
kept
always
making
I
it.
out
think we didn't make enough. We still can catch up.
there. So you guys have seen the evolution and all this, the innovations of single barrel and barrel proof, flavored whiskeys. Now we've got some crazy guy doing blends of straight whiskeys. If you had to look forward, what do you think's next? Do you have any ideas where we go from here in American whiskey?
I don't see much
I mean, I think variations of it.
variation.
Maybe some different barrel finishes. You start playing with the wood a little bit. And I think the blending, which Freddie is touching on, blending from different liquid streams within our, because you look at, I know, Eddie and Jimmy have got some tremendous liquid streams at Wild Turkey. And you look at the Beam Suntory liquid streams that we have access to. I mean, you can make some incredible whiskeys bringing those fluids together at the right balance. And, that's what people want is flavor. As long as you keep the flavor up there and it's got a good story, I think the products will sell and the industry will continue to grow.
That's interesting. I mean, I don't think it's, viable from a corporate standpoint, but something that I've been seeing is there's home blenders blending streams actually from different bourbon distilleries together.
Mm-hmm. Right.
What do you think of that idea? Do you think there's any merit there, even for people at home? You sort of get some stuff from Beam and some stuff from Turkey, and they fill in for each other.
Well, as long as they're buying our product, we don't care what they do.
If you look back, I mean, a few years ago, and I know Jimmy was involved, I was involved, we did a Unity bottle.
Yes.
For Parker.
Yeah, for Parker.
And we all the bourbon guys gave bourbon, it was blended, and they sold the bottles at auction right here to benefit ALS. I mean, I would never say never, but I mean, I wouldn't be against if Jimmy was to call me up and say, hey, we'd like to do a collaboration, I'd be in. And I'm sure if Bruce calls Freddie going down the road, they'll do it. I mean, because we're a close network of friends who, if we got a good idea and we want to do it, we will do it. And if people don't like it, we'll drink it ourselves. That's the thing about our products. We do drink each other's stuff. I mean, and we enjoy drinking what each other makes, because each person, making bourbon is an art. And we're all artists, no matter what we do. Jimmy does it his way. We're doing it the way Dad did it. Parker, he did it his way. But in the end, it's all good whiskey. And if we get it all together, fine. I wouldn't be above saying, sure, I'm in.
Yeah, the Unity was...
It was cool. I mean, it was really...
Great product.
To come together for a great cause. Because our great friend and brother Parker was stricken with that dreaded disease. And if we could step together and help him, just like when they had their fire, we all stepped up and helped him.
That's what I was talking about when they had the big fire. All of us pitched in and helped them get back on their feet. Everybody done something for them. And you don't see that much in other business. Well,
I don't be maybe applauding that their big competitor was going down the road. They went down the ropes. But I mean, you think about Bourbon Festival. We all get together. Now, you don't hear of a beer festival where all the beer guys get together. But we do it every year in Barstown, and we all have a big time. Invite folks from all over the world to come to our little area of central Kentucky and celebrate bourbon. And I think it's really, really cool that we do get along and we do enjoy being around each other. It's not just us talking, we do enjoy being together.
This year, during the Bourbon Festival, Beam had a barbecue cook-off.
Yeah.
And I was one that they invited me down to be the judge.
We got folks from all the different distilleries to come in and be the teams.
I thought you only judged Burgoo. I thut you only judged Burgoo.
Well,
you judged barbecue
we
too?
broke him and Jaretta in on judging barbecue, and we're going to plan on doing it again this year, or next year, because I think it was kind of cool to bring in people from the different distilleries, the camaraderie. I mean, it was just, they were all laughing and cutting up. So what, you work for Wild Turkey, or you work for Beam, or you work for Heaven Hill. You can all hang out and have a big time. And me and Jimmy got to eat some good food. Hey, we'll do it again next year. That's what it's all about. And the teams will be sharpening their skills to try to do a little better.
Try to do better.
Well, it seems like you guys have a lot of fun at what you do, and it sure shows in the glass at the end of the day.
I had to get him a drink in Chicago one day.
True story. I went to a bar late night, and I saw him in the bar. So I said, well, I'll stop here and have a drink with Dad. I get to the door, and he stopped me and said, no, you can't have a drink. We're closed. I said, wow. And he see him, I can see him, he's right there. I'll let my son in here. Come on here, you want a drink? So all he did was sit down and he let me come in, I got me a drink. I said, well, it's nice to know somebody. But that's a true story. I mean,
we have a lot of fun together. You can see that. We enjoy being around each other.
We really do. I mean, it's not an act, it's legitimate. I mean, all of us are like that though, it's cool.
I don't think the Scotch guys have as much fun as you do.
No, I guarantee you. We give them a hard time.
Yes, we have a lot of fun with them too.
We give them grief about their skirts. And they call us the barefoot hillbillies from Kentucky. We've been trying to teach them it's hillbilly, it's not hillybillies.
I told them we didn't wear dresses.
Our buddy Richard Patterson, we've had a lot of fun with Richard over the years. The nose.
Yeah, I remember you guys touring, doing some good stuff at WhiskyFest.
Yeah, he's a great dude. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Rich, people thought we really hated each other. They said, you really hate that guy, don't you? I said, absolutely not.
He threw the ice all over you.
He threw ice on me. I threw corks at him. We had a lot of fun.
It's like a pro wrestling match. And you
It's
guys
funny, one year, I was here in New York. John said, y'all need to tone it down a little bit. What do you mean? He said, we can hear y'all all the way out in the hallway. So the people are screaming and laughing. And Richard said, well, if we got to tone it down, we just want to quit doing it. Because, I mean, it was just a Richard stick. I mean, Richard got loud and carried on.
And you didn't?
I had to stay loud with him. I wasn't going to let him get the upper hand now. And I learned from you and Booker. You know, you got to defend your bourbon. You got to do what you got to do.
That's right. Yeah, that's what I say. I enjoy it. I can honestly say this. I've never worked a day in my life. The first day it's work, I'll retire. I enjoy what I do, and comrades we have with all other bourbon distilleries, and even the Scotch people, the Irish people, we don't get to see them that much, but you know, all of us live within probably less than an hour of each other.
Oh, yeah?
Out at nights, we run into somebody, some of them every night just about. We're out eating, so it's something I really enjoy.
It's great.
It's a have fun business. I mean, we do have fun in what we do. It's great.
I think at WhiskyFest that comes through too. You know, the people that come here to meet you guys, they're not here just to drink the whiskey. They could get the whiskey elsewhere. They're here to meet the guys who make it,
Right.
see the fun that you have, take part in it, be part of the extended family.
I think they find out how
pretty cool.
approachable we are. They don't watch it, you know. We'll take pictures. We'll tell them a story.
Yeah.
We'll have a drink with them. I mean, that's what we do.
Thanks, Fred. Thanks, Jimmy, for joining us. It's always a great time to see you. You guys obviously are good friends, and I appreciate you sharing your whiskey and your kinship with us. So really appreciate you coming.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having
Let's
us.
drink to that.
Cheers. I want to use both mine so I don't offend either one of you guys.
I done drank all Jimmy's. I don't know.
Cheers.
A little bit late in mine.